want to increase that probability in exchange. You know, it's like, I think that's the, if I'm looking at it from your perspective, the pros and cons. There might be a slightly better chance that you were brought to final two if Turner was here, slightly. If he decided to go that route, and that's still assuming that it doesn't flip on you and think through the same logic that you're thinking through right now. Maybe slightly chance there, but I think there's a much harder chance to win. Whereas if I were still here, I think your probability of winning that final HOH goes shoots up exponentially, as well as if your the famed accolades like that we talked about are very clearly yours, and you've made that big final move of taking out Turner. That, of course, I'm not even going to try to sell you on bringing me to final two, but if you were to bring Taylor or myself, you clearly win in landslide. Curious thoughts. What would be, like, shoot me, what would be a concern if I were to stay? Or what would be a concern if I were to go? Or what would be, you know, and I'm just curious if there's anything that I could provide perspective on that would help with that.
I mean, no, everything you've said is true, you know, and like you said, I'm typically a very objective person. I don't make decisions that are based off of, like, I manage risk, you know, and that's all that I'm going to be doing this week as well,
I
right?
mean, you're an entrepreneur. This is probably the biggest business decision you'll probably have to make. Like, hopefully not forever, because I think your business is going to skyrocket and there'll be bigger decisions than this ever. But I mean, you think about $750K and the decisions that would lead into that. I get where you're. So you think about this objectively, logically. Is there anything that gives you pause?
Yeah, I mean, it's you talk about two different routes that are both very viable, but there's risk associated with making it to final two, but then there's also risk associated with winning as well, even in having you stay, right? Because you talk about, you know, Turner being a very strong competitor, but on the mental side, he's done very well. I've noticed the differences in which type of competitions he does well in versus which type of mental competition he doesn't do well. When it comes to short-term repetitive memory, like I see something and I have to repeat it, that's his domain. That's where he does well, right? When it comes to memory of things that have happened in the past, that is not where he does well. And I have sat there and literally tried to help him through conversations about what has happened in the past, and that is just something that does not necessarily, that's not his strong suit, right? So when I think about, okay, that last competition, the past seasons that I've seen, what type of memory is required for that one, it's usually on past events that have happened in this game. So even if I were to lose the physical competition and then make it to that third one, right, by beating Taylor or whatever have you, I still feel like I could bet on myself in that situation based off of the fact that, again, based off of observation, the conversations we've had around memory of things that have happened in the past in the game, I think I could take that and then make the proper decision from there to make sure I have the best chance of winning. Whereas I think you would do a lot better in that situation than Turner, just based off of how you did in this comic, again, or not in this comic, this past veto, where, like you said, like you just told me, it wasn't a matter of not having known, it was just knowing the wrong day for that competition. So therefore, I was looking at
material,
so I'm looking at it like it wasn't as if you were incapable of memorizing those things. Whereas Turner, the capability around memorizing those things in the past was a big struggle for him. And the math is not his issue, it's the memorization, right? So when I look at those two pathways, I'm like, okay, if it comes down to that final competition, which is the most important, I believe I can make it there in either situation. But who will I have the best chance of beating in that situation? And this is out of respect for you. I think I have a better chance with Turner than I do with you. So that's one component of it. The second component, which is, okay, I can sit here and be very confident in myself, but what's the biggest risk? The biggest risk is not even making it to final two. Where, okay, say I win the physical comp and I get down to that third competition and I don't win. What happens there? Whether it's Turner, Taylor, or you. Then my game is going to be in whoever's hands at that point.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a decision between either myself and Turner or myself and Brittany. If I'm any smart person, if somebody has to make that decision, I know who they're going to be choosing.
Yeah.
As much as Taylor can try to make me believe that she would choose me over you, it would make no sense for her to do that.
Yeah.
She's going to choose you. Same thing for you objectively. If you were to get down to that point and have to choose between myself and Taylor, you ought to be choosing Taylor.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I have a 33% chance of making it to final two, whereas in this situation where it's Turner and Taylor, it's almost 100% chance that I'm going to make it to final two. And even if it is somewhere where I'm sitting next to Turner, I still think that based off of my logic and reasoning around how well he's done in those competitions, around mental memory, and then also just where I've been at in my level of competitiveness, I feel like I would rather bank on myself beating him in a memorization comp because of the evidence I've seen in him struggling there versus, worrying about a situation where the chances of me not even making it to final two are a lot greater in that scenario where it's you and Taylor who are here. So those are the two things that I strongly consider, and I'm just like, yeah, those are very objective things to look at.
Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. I feel like two things kind of came up for me when you were describing that. Is considering that Taylor is, in these comp situations, Taylor is in those in both respects. And not to, negate that. A physical, Taylor's really a very good blend of both physical strengths and mental. She's beat me at mental comps, she's beat me at physical comps, she's, we don't know what kind of physical comp this first one is. If it's that, potentially that one where you have to hang on.
Yeah, she might win.
Oh, she could most definitely win that. So thinking true too, okay, if that were the case, then the next one would be like a physical / mental one. I guess I'm thinking like, yes, the third one is a very important one, but winning the first one physically is an important one as well. That would be something where I think both you or Taylor would have a much greater chance of winning over a Turner if I were playing in that instance. Also, you said that there would be a much better chance that if you got to the end, if Turner was still there, of going to final two. I think you said like 100% chance. I guess that would be the only thing that, like, I guess how certain were you Turner wouldn't take that last move. And that's where I get to where it's got to be where it's like maybe that's an emotional decision that doesn't make sense, and you better hope that it is, because if it was a strategic one, like that's going to be one of the ones where, and let's remain objective. But if you were to win, people would be ripping their hair. Like that would be one of the BB wonders. Like what? That just doesn't make sense for his game and his perspective. Given that you guys are so close and your games are so similar, if you were to do that, and I don't know. You have a much better sense of what that probability would be like than I would, and that's just feels like a lot to bank on, I guess.